In the town of Talkeetna, Alaska, they've come up with a tourist attraction. A trained bear delivers the mail. Of course, he doesn't go door to door but participates in a show, carrying baskets filled with letters inside the post office. Tourists love the idea of sending a postcard with a bear stamp. It's a unique keepsake. The locals have turned this into an attraction, and now the bear postman has become a true symbol of the town. It sounds almost like a fairy tale, but it's actually a real way to attract visitors and make ordinary mail a local landmark. Fleas are true acrobats of the insect world. They can jump up to 350 times their body length. For comparison, if a human had such an ability, they could leap over a skyscraper or easily reach the top shelf in a library without a ladder. The secret of fleas lies in a special protein called resilin, which acts like a spring. They store energy and release it instantly, like miniature catapults. This allows them to escape danger and find new hosts. Their small size makes them almost invisible, but they possess enough strength to make any athlete envious. An ant can lift a load 50 times its own weight. If a human had such abilities, they could easily throw a truck over their shoulder and stroll down the street. The secret lies in the ant's powerful muscles working with a lightweight exoskeleton, and its body weight is distributed quite differently than ours. In a colony, this turns into a complete transportation system. Dozens of ants carry food and building materials like little laborers on a construction site. Their strength is one of the best examples of how size does not determine capability. Off the coast of Mauritius, there is a breathtaking sight. It looks as if a giant waterfall is crashing into the ocean right by the shore. In reality, this is an optical illusion. Ocean currents carry sand and sediment in such a way that it creates the impression of a swift flow downward into the abyss. From above, the view is fantastic. The water seems to plunge through the edge of the ocean. Tourists specifically fly here to witness this natural wonder with their own eyes. In reality, there is no chasm, but the beauty of the illusion is so striking that it is considered one of the most mesmerizing landscapes on the planet. Polar bears appear to be snowy creatures, as if sculpted from ice. However, if you push aside their thick fur, you'll find that their skin is not white, but black. This color helps the animals absorb solar heat more effectively and retain it in harsh Arctic conditions. Thus, the white fur serves as camouflage, while the bear's true clothing acts as a heater. This dual mechanism allows them to survive in temperatures that drop below -40. So, the polar bear is not just a fluffy giant, but a true engineering marvel of nature, where everything is meticulously designed. You won't believe it, but the sugar industry has been hiding the truth for decades. In the mid-20th century, sugar producers funded research that shifted the blame for heart disease onto fats and cholesterol. Scientists published articles that downplayed the dangers of sugar, redirecting attention to dangerous fats. As a result, entire generations believed that sweets were relatively safe, while the real threat was butter and meat. It was only later revealed that excess sugar is directly linked to obesity and diseases. This is one example of how business can rewrite science for its own benefit. Even carousels in different countries spin in different directions. In the UK, carousels traditionally rotate clockwise, while in the US and continental Europe, they turn counterclockwise. This difference stems from the fact that in the past, carousel figures were designed for easier mounting from the left side. The British deemed one direction correct, while those across the ocean chose another. The result is a curious phenomenon. The same amusement moves in opposite directions in different parts of the world. It may seem like a minor detail, but it highlights how culture influences even entertainment. Today, the Earth's population has surpassed 8 billion people. Imagine, that's 8 billion stories, voices, smiles, and destinies. For comparison, in just the last 100 years, we've quadrupled in number. Once only a few million people lived on the planet, and now that many can reside in a single large city. This figure prompts us to think about the future. Will resources be sufficient? Will we learn to care for the planet? Yet at the same time, 8 billion represents 8 billion opportunities, ideas, and discoveries that could change the world. The International Space Station is not just a laboratory in orbit. It is the most expensive man-made object ever created. Its construction and operation have cost around $150 billion. For comparison, that's nearly 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. The station has become a symbol of cooperation among different countries, with Americans, Russians, Japanese, and Europeans working together on board. Experiments are conducted there that cannot be performed on Earth. And while the amount may seem astronomical, the results are worth it. The ISS has opened the doors to life beyond our planet, and represents a step toward future flights to other worlds. In English, a group of ladybugs is called loveliness, which can be translated as grace or charm. This is perhaps one of the most fitting names for these creatures. Imagine a meadow where dozens of bright red bugs are crawling through the grass. The word herd would sound harsh, while loveliness perfectly captures the mood. Language often reflects people's attitudes toward nature, and in this case, it is incredibly warm. It feels as though the ladybugs themselves have earned the title of the cutest beings in the insect world. In the late 90s, Furby toys appeared in the US. Furry, chatty creatures with electronic eyes. Rumors circulated that they could record conversations and send them somewhere. It got to the point where they were officially banned from government facilities, including the National Security Agency. Of course, it turned out that Furbies were not spies at all, just a myth and panic surrounding a new toy. But history shows how people sometimes fear technology. A toy designed for children's play briefly became a dangerous agent. Funny, isn't it? Robert Howard, the author of Conan the Barbarian, was a friend and ally of H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft, the creator of the Cthulhu mythos, was a close friend of Robert Howard, the legendary creator of Conan. They corresponded, discussed their works, and inspired each other. When Howard took his own life at the age of 30, Lovecraft was deeply shaken and soon succumbed to illness and depression. Their friendship became a link between Lovecraft's dark cosmic horror and Howard's heroic fantasy. Thus, two completely different genres, horror and epic adventure, somehow emerged from a single creative friendship. Octopuses are true inventors of the underwater world. Scientists have observed that they can use coconut shells as shelters. They pick up suitable halves, drag them along the ocean floor, and then assemble them like a shield when they need to hide. It looks as if the octopus has its own backpack or portable tent. For an animal without bones or a shell, this is a brilliant solution. It creates its own armor. Octopuses are already known for their high intelligence, but using objects is a level of ingenuity akin to humans. So it turns out that a little MacGyver with 8 arms lives on the ocean floor. Have you ever wondered why a person can't walk straight with their eyes closed? Scientists have conducted experiments where people were asked to walk in a straight line without visual cues. Almost everyone ended up moving in a curved trajectory, often in a spiral. The reason lies in our proprioception, which is the sense of our body's position in space. Without visual guidance, the brain gradually loses its way. Interestingly, a person can navigate by stars or even by smell. But as soon as we take away the familiar visual control, we turn into drunken sailors, unable to walk straight even for 100 meters. The sea lily may seem like a flower, but it is actually an ancient animal. The name is misleading. Sea lilies look like flowers on long stems, but they are echinoderms, distant relatives of starfish and sea urchins. They live on the ocean floor and feed by filtering water, capturing tiny crustaceans and protozoa like living nets. Since ancient times, sea lilies have been considered some of the oldest creatures. Their ancestors appeared hundreds of millions of years ago and survived numerous mass extinctions. Interestingly, nature sometimes creates animals that resemble plants, which can confuse even scientists. If you take a close look at Leonardo da Vinci's most famous painting, you'll notice something strange. The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows. Scholars debate whether the artist intended it that way, or if the eyebrows have faded over time. But this small detail makes her smile even more enigmatic. We are used to reading emotions through facial expressions, and the absence of familiar features is disorienting. It's like having a conversation with someone, but part of their words suddenly disappears. Each viewer fills in the gaps in their own way. Perhaps that's why the smile of the Gioconda is so captivating. It communicates with us through the silence of missing details. Sharks have a secret that dentists can only dream of. Their teeth are coated with natural fluoride. Imagine a smile that never knows cavities. These predators replace their teeth hundreds of times throughout their lives, and each new one grows in perfectly healthy and strong. Sharks don't use toothbrushes or toothpaste, yet their jaws always look like a Hollywood star on the red carpet. That's why sharks can hunt for decades without worrying about pain or treatment. If humans had the same advantage, dentists could be turned into museums. This is where people worked when teeth still broke. Some species of turtles can breathe through their cloaca. It sounds funny, but it's actually an important survival adaptation. During cold weather, they can be under ice where there's almost no oxygen. That's when special cavities in the cloaca come into play, allowing them to absorb oxygen from the water. It's a sort of backup breathing. The turtle seems to say, well, if my nose and mouth aren't working, I have an alternative. This mechanism enables them to stay underwater for hours and even hibernate without coming up for air. Imagine Venice at night, when tourists disperse to their hotels, and the city falls silent. You walk across an ancient stone bridge, and suddenly it emits astonishing sounds, like a soft melody. This is due to its unique design. In certain spots, plates are installed that begin to vibrate with each step. The effect of resonance transforms an ordinary bridge into a musical instrument. Tourists unwittingly become musicians themselves. These sounds seem to transport you to the past, to an era when Venice was a hub of trade and art. The city still knows how to amaze. Here, even the stones converse and sing if you listen closely enough. It may seem strange that banknotes vary in size across different countries. In fact, this is done intentionally to make life easier for people with visual impairments. In euros or pounds, each banknote differs in length and width, allowing individuals to identify them by touch. This is convenient not only for the visually impaired, but for everyone else as well, reducing the chance of confusing denominations. In the US, however, all banknotes are the same size, making it difficult for tourists to quickly distinguish between them. Additionally, varying sizes serve as a protection against counterfeiting, as it is challenging for fraudsters to replicate precise dimensions. Thus, banknotes hold not only monetary value but also a hidden consideration for the people who handle them daily. In the tropical forests of Papua New Guinea lives a creature that is easily overlooked, the smallest frog in the world. It measures just 7.7 millimeters, less than a centimeter. Weighing about 1/100th of a gram, it hides among the leaves, appearing as a tiny dot. But don't be fooled into thinking it's quiet. Its voice resembles the buzz of an insect and can be heard from a considerable distance. This little one demonstrates that nature can create not only giants like whales and elephants, but also incredible miniature champions. It's astonishing how life and energy can fit into such a microscopic body. The carnivorous plant Venus flytrap can literally count. When an insect touches its sensitive hairs, the trap doesn't close immediately. The plant waits for a second touch to ensure it's not just a random raindrop or a speck of dust. If the touch is repeated, the lobes snap shut. Scientists have found that the flytrap keeps an internal count, and a specific number of stimuli is also needed for digestion. This means the plant has a primitive memory and a decision-making system. This makes it resemble a creature with a brain, even though it doesn't have one. Leonardo da Vinci observed a mathematical law in the most ordinary trees. In his notes, he remarked that if you sum the thickness of all the branches of a tree at a certain height, it equals the thickness of the trunk. This remarkable observation has been confirmed by modern research. Trees that follow this rule withstand strong winds and storms better. Leonardo made a discovery that ecologists and biologists still use today. It turns out that the artist and inventor recognized patterns in nature that science was only able to prove centuries later. A true example of how a genius was ahead of his time. Dubai loves to impress with architectural wonders, and one of the ideas is skyscrapers that rotate around their axis. Imagine a building where each floor can slowly turn, offering residents a new view, the sea in the morning, the desert in the evening, and the city lights at night. This technology requires complex solutions, but it transforms the building into a living mechanism. Additionally, the rotation helps evenly distribute sunlight throughout the building and saves energy. This is not just a striking concept, but a step towards smart architecture, where comfort and beauty go hand in hand. Dubai once again proves that the future is already here. Have you ever wondered what dinosaurs actually sounded like? In the famous Jurassic Park, the monsters sound so terrifying that it sends chills down your spine. But the sound designers didn't find recordings of prehistoric reptiles. No one has ever heard them. Instead, they combined the most unexpected sounds, like the moans of mating turtles. These became the foundation for the fearsome roars on screen. It's amusing to imagine viewers holding their breath, believing in the terrifying roar of the T-Rex. While in the studio, sound engineers are stifling laughter, knowing that the king of the lizards sounds suspiciously romantic. It's interesting to consider which invention has become the most widespread in history. It's the transistor. Today, they are produced in the trillions, with hundreds of millions of transistors for every person on Earth, embedded in computers, phones, and household appliances. Electronics wouldn't function without them. Transistors are so small that we often overlook them. Yet they are the building blocks of the digital world. If humanity were imagined as a city, Transistors would be the bricks that make up every building, unseen, tiny, but utterly indispensable. Want to hear one of the strangest reasons for toxicity? Bright poison dart frogs are deadly. Their skin secretes a toxin that can kill a human. But here's the surprising part. They aren't toxic on their own. In captivity, where they are fed a regular diet, their skin becomes safe. It turns out the secret lies in their diet. In the wild, they eat specific ants and insects that contain toxic substances. So, the poison is a result of their nutrition. Nature seems to show that even a small frog can become a weapon if it has the right ingredients on its menu. In the old houses of Venice and Florence, secret staircases hidden within the walls are still being discovered. Aristocrats built them as a backup escape route in case of danger or attack. These concealed passages led to secret rooms or allowed for a discreet exit from the house. Today, such discoveries captivate tourists. You enter an old mansion and suddenly find a small door behind which lies a narrow spiral staircase, leading who knows where. It feels as if the house itself is guarding its secrets. These architectural tricks serve as a reminder that life in past centuries was not only luxurious but also dangerous, requiring caution and clever solutions. The number of possible combinations in chess exceeds the number of atoms in the entire universe. Each new move opens up virtually infinite variations in the game. This is why no two games are ever exactly the same. Imagine playing a match with a friend, and theoretically you create a unique variation that has never existed before. This transforms chess from just a game into a true art of strategy and imagination. It's no wonder they call it the royal game. Within those black and white squares lies a whole universe of possibilities. Strange but true, there is a philosophy that rejects logic. It's called anti-intellectualism. Its essence is that intuition and action are more important than reasoning. Proponents believe that conclusions are too slow and unreliable, while traditions and experience are more valuable than any arguments. Essentially, it's a philosophy of do rather than think. This approach may seem wild to a rational person, but it has genuinely existed and found followers. Throughout history, there have always been those who trusted their hearts more than their minds. Thus, even in philosophy, there are teachings that consciously reject the very foundation of philosophy: reasoning. China has built the longest bridge in the world, the Danyang-Kunshan Grand Viaduct. It stretches over 160 kilometers. This high-speed railway connects major cities. Imagine riding a train while an endless bridge stretches beneath you, disappearing into the horizon. The construction took just 4 years, with thousands of engineers and workers involved. This bridge stands as a symbol of humanity's ability to conquer even the vastest spaces, turning impossible distances into ordinary roads. The medieval chivalric order still exists and even issues its own passports. The Sovereign Military Order of Malta, founded during the Crusades, is recognized by the international community as a sovereign entity despite not having its own territory. The order has its own passports, stamps, and even currency, the Maltese scudo. It boasts tens of thousands of knights, volunteers, and doctors working around the globe. Many find it surprising that this medieval institution continues to thrive in modern times, preserving not only its traditions but also real legal privileges. It stands as one of the few examples where the past and present coexist side by side. Sharks are eternal swimmers. They lack a swim bladder, which keeps most fish at the right depth. To avoid sinking and suffocating, they must keep moving all the time. Water flows through their gills, and that's the only way they get oxygen. Imagine having to walk your entire life, with no right to sit down or lie down to sleep. For a shark, this is normal. Even in sleep, it continues to swim, moving slowly and calmly. So, the ocean is for it both a bed and a road, a home all at once, a true marathon that lasts a lifetime. Sharks have existed for over 400 million years, while the first trees appeared only 50 million years later. This means these predators swam in the ocean long before forests rustled on land. Imagine a planet without trees, but with sharks already feeling like the masters of the sea. They have survived mass extinctions, ice ages, and shifts in continents, and they still remain formidable hunters. In this sense, sharks are true dinosaurs of the ocean, proving to be more resilient than even the oldest plants. In ancient Rome, fashion could be both strange and bold. To achieve a rich dark hair color, noble women used not dye but leeches. They would take them, place them in a vessel, let them ferment, and then apply the resulting goo to their hair. It sounds horrifying, but at the time, it was considered a true beauty secret. Imagine a modern salon. A client walks in and is offered leech's shampoo. We would run away in horror, but for the Romans it was a normal grooming ritual. Interestingly, thousands of years later, we are still willing to undergo bizarre procedures for beauty. Only now they smell a lot better. In Venice, there is an unusual museum that showcases items recovered from the bottom of the canals. You can see coins, ancient tools, jewelry, and even musical instruments that have been submerged for centuries. Each exhibit is a piece of history, accidentally lost and later found. Imagine walking through the city, and somewhere beneath your feet in the mud lies a lost ring or a merchant's wallet, only to be unearthed by archaeologists centuries later. This museum brings the past to life, revealing not the grand Venice but its everyday life. It serves as a reminder that every forgotten object could one day become part of a larger story. About 10% of people on the planet are left-handed. The world is primarily designed for right-handed individuals, from scissors and door handles to school desks. However, left-handed people often stand out with a unique style of thinking. There's a theory that their brain hemispheres function differently, which may explain the prevalence of creative and unconventional personalities among them. Imagine living in a world where everything is slightly inconvenient. Yet this inconvenience can sometimes spark ingenuity. Left-handed individuals seem to see the world from a different perspective. In Rome, a pizza over 40 meters in diameter was once baked. It was named Ottavia in honor of the Roman emperor. The weight of this culinary monster exceeded 23 tons. Special ovens and a team of pizzaiolos worked for several days to prepare it. Imagine a square where instead of asphalt, there's a giant crust topped with tomato sauce and cheese. This pizza could feed an entire city. Interestingly, it was completely gluten-free, ensuring that the record not only amazed but also catered to those with dietary restrictions. A true gastronomic spectacle for all of Italy. There is a specific disorder called dyscalculia, a kind of dyslexia for numbers. People with this condition struggle even with the simplest tasks. They find it hard to understand which number is larger, 6 or 7, or to count change in a store. Their ability to perceive time, navigate calculations, and remember numbers is often affected. Approximately 7.5% of people worldwide live with this condition. For them, math is not just a difficult subject, but an almost incomprehensible language. Interestingly, a person may be talented in music or art, yet numbers will remain a mystery to them. Imagine this. What we call a banana tree is actually not a tree at all. It doesn't have a real wooden trunk. It's just tightly rolled leaves. Essentially, the banana is the tallest grass on the planet. So you walk through a garden, see this massive plant and think, definitely a tree. While botanists smile slyly. It's amusing that the fruits we eat in the morning actually grow on a giant blade of grass. Picture a lawn in front of your house but the size of a 3-story building. That's the green paradox of nature. You won't believe it, but there is a whale known as the loneliest in the world. Scientists discovered a whale nicknamed the 52 Hertz whale. It sings at a frequency different from all other whales, and no one responds to it. Its call goes unheard, or misunderstood. This whale seems to sing an eternal song in solitude. Its story has become a metaphor for human isolation and loneliness. Millions of people around the planet empathize with it, seeing their own feelings reflected in its plight. Sometimes even an animal becomes a symbol of what it means to be misunderstood in a vast world. Norway is home to the longest road tunnel in the world, the Lærdal Tunnel, which stretches over 24 kilometers. What's remarkable is that in spring, it transforms not only into a roadway for cars, but also into a path for goats. Local farmers drive their herds through it to reach pastures, and this has become quite a tradition. Imagine walking through a tunnel usually filled with speeding cars, while goats calmly stroll around you. For the animals, it's safer than climbing mountain trails, and for tourists, it's a true spectacle that blends modern engineering with rural life. Norwegians have found an original way to combine technology and nature. You won't believe it, but there's a name for the lint in your pocket. Those tiny clumps that gather in the corner are called nur. They consist of fabric threads, fuzz, bits of paper, and dust. Gradually, they roll into dense balls, especially after washing. We usually regard them as trivial, but scientists have an official term for this phenomenon. It's amusing that even something as small as a lint ball in your jeans has its own definition in science. Sometimes it seems like language is ready to describe absolutely everything, even the most insignificant details. The largest spider on the planet is the Goliath bird eater. Its leg span can reach 30 centimeters and it weighs over 170 grams. This hairy giant can hunt not only insects but also small rodents, lizards, and even chicks. When encountered, it can produce a frightening hissing sound by rubbing its legs together. Despite its fearsome appearance, its bite is not deadly to humans. It's similar to a wasp sting. However, the impression of an encounter is strong. It's like a small dog in the world of spiders. Scientists call it the king of spiders, and it's hard to argue with that. A group of owls is called a parliament. This sounds very symbolic, as the owl has been regarded as a wise bird since ancient times. In Greek mythology, it accompanied the goddess Athena, and in the Middle Ages, it became a symbol of knowledge and magic. Perhaps that's why people decided that a gathering of owls resembles a meeting of sages discussing important matters. Imagine a forest at night, dozens of owls perched on branches, conversing as if they were discussing an agenda. Of course, they have no politics, but the term has taken root in the language. This is a wonderful example of how human imagination gives animals vivid and memorable names. Today, humanity has explored only 1 to 5% of the ocean. Everything else remains in the dark depths, where humans have rarely ventured. Unknown species, entire ecosystems, and even new sources of energy may be hidden there. Imagine, we know more about the moon than about the ocean floor. This paradox astonishes scientists and fuels the imagination. What lies beneath? Giant creatures, underwater cities, or just darkness? Each new descent of exploration devices reveals a piece of this mystery. It turns out that the ocean is the last great enigma on Earth. The Amazon is a river so powerful that its fresh water flows into the Atlantic for hundreds of kilometers. Imagine sailing on a ship in the open ocean, and the water around you is still not salty. Scientists call this phenomenon one of the greatest wonders of hydrology. The Amazon acts like a giant faucet, diluting the ocean's salinity so abundantly that fish and plants feel its effects far beyond the mouth of the river. No other river in the world can transform the sea in such a way. The Amazon is not just a river, it is a living artery of the planet, demonstrating how water can be stronger than even the greatest ocean. You won't believe it, but Isaac Newton was a secret agent. At the end of the 17th century, he was appointed as the Master of the Royal Mint in England. At that time, the country was suffering from an influx of counterfeiters. Newton didn't limit himself to office work. He disguised himself, visited taverns, gathered evidence, and brought criminals to justice. His efforts led to dozens of arrests. So the author of the Laws of Mechanics was simultaneously waging a real battle against the underground. History remembers him as a great scientist, but few know that part of his life resembled a spy novel. The world of mammals is diverse. Some run, some swim, some jump. But only bats can truly fly. Their wings are membranes stretched over elongated fingers, not feathers like birds. This structure makes them incredibly agile. Additionally, bats use echolocation. They emit sounds that bounce off objects, allowing them to navigate in the dark by the echoes. This enables them to hunt at night with missile-like precision. Bats play a crucial role in the ecosystem, consuming millions of insects and pollinating plants. These small nocturnal hunters are true masters of the air. Today, speeding is a common offense, but the first case in history is quite amusing. In 1896 in England, a man named Walter Arnold was fined for driving at just 13 kilometers per hour. Back then, that was 4 times the allowed speed. The police caught up with him. On a bicycle. The story became a sensation as cars were just starting to gain popularity. Today, 13 kilometers per hour seems laughable, but this incident marked the beginning of a long history of traffic regulations. It's funny that it all started with such a modest violation. A sunset on Mars is a true wonder. Unlike Earth, where the sky is painted in shades of red and orange, on Mars the sun sets in a blue glow. This is due to the planet's thin atmosphere, which scatters light differently than ours. As a result, the daytime sky appears pale yellow, and at sunset, the horizon ignites with a stunning blue light. Astronauts who find themselves there will witness a truly alien landscape. Imagine standing on the cold Martian plains, gazing up at a foreign yet mesmerizing sky. It's like a painting by an artist who decided to swap the usual colors. Some crabs turn sea anemones into living weapons. Tiny crabs of the genus Libinia hold sea anemones in their claws and wave them around like living clubs. The anemones sting enemies with their venomous tentacles, protecting the crab, while receiving food and a chance to reproduce in return. If a crab loses its anemone, it can tear another one in half, and that one will regenerate into two new individuals. Nature's way of providing a backup plan. This is one of the most unusual examples of symbiosis. A small crab with living weapon gloves that can fend off even larger foes. In the Emirates, skyscrapers are built not only for beauty but also for practical purposes. In the heat, height helps cool the buildings. At higher levels, the temperature is lower, and the shade from the towers covers parts of the streets. Thus, architecture becomes a way to combat the climate. Imagine a city where towers are not just decorations but a refuge from the scorching sun. Moreover, tall buildings save land, freeing up space for parks and roads. As a result, modern skyscrapers are not a whim, but a smart solution that transforms the desert into a comfortable and cool metropolis. A story that sounds like fiction. A caterpillar turns into soup. When the time for transformation comes, the caterpillar crawls into a cocoon and literally dissolves its body using enzymes. This creates a viscous mass from which the eyes, wings, antennae, and all other organs are reformed. Essentially, it's a complete reset of the organism. Scientists are still amazed by this process. The insect destroys itself to build a new body from building blocks. The result is a butterfly, light and vibrant, completely different from the former caterpillar. Nature seems to show that sometimes, to change, one must completely break down into parts. In Armenia, a chocolate bar weighing over 4 tons was once created. It measured 5.5 meters long and nearly 3 meters wide, making it took 10 days and a huge amount of cocoa beans. Imagine! An entire stadium of children could have feasted on this chocolate field. When the chocolate was finally unveiled at the celebration, it wasn't placed in a museum. It was simply broken apart and shared with the people. There's something touching about this. The largest sweet symbol in history became a communal treat. It's as if the very idea of chocolate, sharing joy, materialized in this record-breaking bar. Who would have thought that the hockey mask was invented by a Japanese man? In 1936, goalie Teiji Honma took to the ice in an unusual piece of equipment, a face mask resembling a samurai helmet. At the time, his idea seemed strange, but it later became the foundation for modern protective gear in hockey. Today, it's hard to imagine a goalie without a mask, but it was once considered unnecessary. Honma was a pioneer who blended the traditions of his culture with the sport. Thanks to him, hockey gained an item that has saved the health of thousands of players around the world. In the 19th century, watermelon became not only a delicacy, but also a secret ingredient for juices. Watermelons were used not just as a standalone fruit, but also as a base for vitamin blends. They were added to juices to balance the flavor. Watermelon made the drink smoother and more pleasant, reducing the excess acidity and bitterness of other fruits. Imagine a glass of orange juice that's too sour to drink without grimacing. Add a bit of watermelon, and the taste becomes refreshing and harmonious. This technique is still used in cooking today, and it was once a true discovery. In the United States, sheriffs are not appointed officials, but elected positions. Unlike many countries where police chiefs are appointed by the state, in America, residents of the county elect their sheriff. The term can range from 2 to 6 years, and it is the people who decide whom to trust with maintaining order. The sheriff leads their department, hires deputies, and operates independently from the FBI or police. Today, there are about 3,500 sheriff's offices in the U.S., ranging from small ones with 2 people to large ones with thousands of employees. Thus, a sheriff is both a law enforcement officer and a politician who must earn the trust of their community. The giant squid has eyes nearly the size of a basketball, about 25 centimeters in diameter. These enormous headlights are essential for its survival in the depths where eternal darkness reigns. With its eyes, the squid can detect even the faintest light, like the flash of a bioluminescent fish or the approach of a sperm whale. Imagine an underwater world where nothing is visible, and suddenly a massive eye spots the slightest glimmer. It may sound eerie to us, but for the squid, such eyes are a guarantee of life. In a world without light, it becomes a true master of night vision. The myxomatosis virus nearly wiped out rabbits in Europe within a few years. French microbiologist Armand Delille tried to control the rabbit population on his estate by infecting them with the myxomatosis virus. However, the disease spiraled out of control. In just a few years, the virus spread across Europe and killed 98% of the rabbits. The culprit was fined, but the damage was done. An entire species was on the brink of extinction. Fortunately, rabbits proved to be resilient and gradually recovered their numbers. This case became one of the most striking examples of how human intervention can lead to ecological disaster. What's truly surprising is that the zipper was long considered a failed idea. Today, no jacket, bag, or backpack is complete without a zipper, but in the early 20th century it didn't catch on at all. The first model seemed inconvenient and unreliable. Fashion was slow to embrace the innovation, preferring traditional buttons. It took 20 years for the zipper to gain popularity, first among the military and then in everyday clothing. Now, it's hard to imagine a world without this invention. But at one time, the zipper was seen as almost a toy that would never take off. History once again shows that brilliant ideas often take time to be recognized. In India, a man spent 22 years in court over an overpayment of 20 rupees. Tungnath Chaturvedi, an Indian resident, bought a train ticket and the cashier made a mistake in the calculations. The overpayment was just 20 rupees, less than half a dollar. But the principle turned out to be more valuable. Chaturvedi filed a lawsuit and sought justice for a full 22 years, attending hundreds of hearings. In the end, he won. The railways were ordered to refund the overpayment and pay compensation with interest. This story illustrates that sometimes it's not about the money, but about the determination of a person willing to go to great lengths for justice, even for something seemingly trivial. The computer keyboard is something we touch every day, but we rarely think about how many germs are on it. Studies show that there are often more bacteria on the keys than on a toilet seat. Crumbs, dust, and grease from our hands create the perfect environment for microbial life. Therefore, regular cleaning is not just a whim, but a matter of health. Sometimes, simply wiping the keyboard with disinfecting wipes or using a special vacuum for electronics is enough. So, as you type a message or play a game, remember, beneath your fingers lies an entire zoo. And perhaps computer hygiene is more important than we tend to think. Flamingos can stand on one leg for hours. For us, it's a feat of balance, but for them, it's complete relaxation. Their joints are structured in a way that makes holding the pose easy and almost effortless. Think of it as having a built-in freeze-frame mode. Scientists don't fully understand how this works. It's as if their muscles lock in place, allowing the bird to even fall asleep without losing balance. Imagine a yogi meditating in a complex pose for hours, but without the slightest tension. For flamingos, it's as natural as sitting in a chair is for us. In a laboratory in Minnesota, there is a special room where the noise level is just 9 decibels. That's quieter than a whisper. Quieter than the rustling of leaves. People who enter begin to hear their own heartbeat and even the movement of blood in their veins. Many can't last more than a few minutes. The silence feels deafening. Scientists use this room for testing equipment and hearing. But for the average person, it's more of an extreme challenge. It creates a paradox. The quieter the surroundings, the louder you sound to yourself. In Japan, there are unusual hotels where guests are greeted not by people but by robots. Imagine being welcomed by an android at the reception, while a mechanical porter delivers your luggage to your room. Even cleaning and service are partially handled by machines. This network is called Henna Hotel, and it has become a true attraction. For tourists, it's an opportunity to glimpse the future, where technology and service merge into one. Of course, sometimes robots make mistakes, and humans have to step in, but the experiences are unforgettable. The Japanese have once again proven that if you're looking for futuristic ideas in everyday life, you should look to them. A hotel with robots is a reality where you can spend the night today. Did you know that scientists experimented with inverted glasses? In the 1890s, psychologist George Stratton gave volunteers special glasses that turned the image upside down. In the first few days, people stumbled, struggled to eat or write. But gradually, the brain adapted. After a week, they were seeing the world correctly again. And when they took off the glasses, everything around them seemed inverted once more. This experiment proved that perception is not fixed. The brain can reshape our view of the world. It turns out we see reality not with our eyes, but with our minds, which learn to interpret it. The most numerous bird in the world is neither the sparrow nor the pigeon, but the tiny red-billed qualia. This small bird, found in Africa south of the Sahara, gathers in massive flocks and literally devastates grain fields. For farmers, they are a true plague. Thousands of these birds can strip a harvest in just a few hours. The flocks of queles are so enormous that they appear like a moving cloud. Scientists consider them the most abundant bird species on Earth. Ironically, in cities we tend to view pigeons as symbols of mass presence, but the record actually belongs to these small African weavers. The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and most famous in Venice. It was built in the 16th century and has been slowly sinking ever since. The city is built on stilts and constantly battles the water, which is why the bridge is gradually descending as well. Over the centuries, it has been restored and reinforced multiple times to preserve this symbol of Venice. However, the underlying issue remains. The sea is slowly reclaiming its territory. For tourists, Rialto is a romantic spot with a view of the Grand Canal. While for engineers, it presents an ongoing challenge. Each stone here serves as a reminder that Venice is beautiful and fragile, and its wonders require constant care and protection. The Nile is the longest river in the world, stretching about 6,650 kilometers. It flows through 11 countries in Africa and serves as a source of life for millions of people. The ancient Egyptians referred to the Nile as a gift from the gods, as the river's floods brought fertile soil and allowed crops to be grown in the desert land. Today, the Nile remains not only an important transportation artery, but also a symbol of history, culture, and the power of nature. It is remarkable that one river can connect so many peoples and eras, becoming a true thread of time that stretches across millennia. Did you know that the Amish fundamentally do not wear mustaches? This religious group is known for its conservative lifestyle: no electricity, no cars, and traditional clothing. Amish men grow beards but never leave mustaches. The reason is that in the 19th century, mustaches were associated with the military, and the Amish have always been committed pacifists. For them, mustaches symbolize war and violence, which is why they reject them. It turns out that even a small detail of appearance can become a powerful symbol of beliefs and a reflection of one's worldview. In the Middle Ages, there was an unusual unit of volume, the ton. But it wasn't the familiar weight measurement. It referred to the amount of wine that could fit in a huge barrel. Merchants and winemakers used this method of measurement for trade. Imagine, at a fair, deals were made not in liters or even barrels, but in whole tons of wine. Today, this word is associated with heaviness and mass, but once it was linked to joy and feasting. This detail of history serves as a reminder that many modern terms originated from very practical needs of the past, when wine was almost a currency. You won't believe it, but a parrot swore at the funeral of a US president. Andrew Jackson, the 7th president of America, had a favorite parrot. His owner often cursed, and the bird quickly picked up the habit. When Jackson died, the parrot was brought to the funeral, but instead of a solemn silence, the guests heard a stream of profanity. The priest had to ask for it to be removed to avoid embarrassing the attendees. It created a strange scene. A president known for his strong character and his feathered friend who seemed to continue his speech even after death. The story shows that even parrots can leave a vivid legacy. Who would have thought that the most stolen book in the world is the Bible? Despite the sanctity of the text, it is the Bible that is most often the target of theft. In hotels, libraries, and stores, it is stolen more frequently than any other book. Perhaps it's because it's always within reach, or because someone considers it public property. Ironically, the book that contains the commandment, "Thou shalt not steal," is most often the one that gets stolen. This serves as a reminder that even the most elevated ideas can clash with the everyday weaknesses of human nature. Imagine that the North Star is not just a solitary light, but a whole family. We tend to think of the North Star as a lone beacon for travelers in the night. However, it is not a singleton but rather an entire ensemble. There lies a trio, the bright Polaris A, its tiny companion Polaris AB, and the neighbor Polaris B. To us on Earth, they merge into a single point, but through astronomers' telescopes, this celestial trio becomes visible. Picture a lantern where the light comes not from one bulb, but from an entire string of lights. It's symbolic. Even the guiding star, which has served as a landmark for centuries, does not stand alone but is part of a team. In Australia, there is Lake Hillier, which changes color from soft pink to deep purple. This effect is created by special algae and minerals. Imagine flying in a plane and seeing a bright pink spot among the greenery of the island, as if a giant spilled strawberry yogurt. Scientists are still debating why the shade is so stable, as even in a bottle the water from the lake retains its color. For tourists, it is one of the most unusual sights, a natural palette that looks like a scene from a sci-fi movie. In psychology, there is an intriguing phenomenon known as the wonderful women effect. Research has shown that both men and women tend to attribute more positive qualities to women. The term wonderful women effect emerged in the 1990s, when sociologists noticed that women received more flattering ratings in surveys than men. Interestingly, women themselves exhibited even greater bias than men. This doesn't mean that women are always better. Rather, society subconsciously idealizes them. Such an effect can even influence politics, careers, or court decisions, as perception often outweighs facts. Who would have thought that an albatross can fly for hours without flapping its wings? These seabirds are true masters of gliding. They skillfully utilize the air currents above the ocean, allowing them to soar for hours with minimal energy expenditure. Some albatrosses spend years at sea, rarely landing on land. They sleep on the water, feed on fish, and feel at home in the ocean. Imagine a whole life in the sky above the sea, where wings become sails. Albatrosses are a symbol of freedom, and their ability to fly almost effortlessly amazes even scientists. Trends in animal fashion often lead to illness and suffering for them. So-called designer dog and cat breeds look unusual and cute. Short legs, flat faces, and huge eyes. However, behind this cuteness lie serious problems. Due to artificial selection, these animals frequently suffer from congenital diseases, ranging from breathing issues to joint deformities. In Scotland, a law has even been passed to prohibit the breeding of such breeds to prevent further suffering. People aim to make animals more beautiful, but instead, they have bestowed upon them constant torment. This is a striking example of how the desire for fashion can turn against nature itself. Ocean giants, sperm whales, are capable of communicating over thousands of kilometers. These ocean behemoths use powerful vibrations for communication that travel through water over vast distances. Scientists suggest that one sperm whale can call another located on the other side of the ocean. However, these same vibrations can be dangerous for humans. Getting too close can lead to paralysis or even death. Thus, sperm whales have their own underwater telephone network that operates far more efficiently than many of our technologies. Their language has not yet been fully deciphered, but it is already clear that it is one of the most complex systems in the animal kingdom. It sounds crazy, but the playwright Aeschylus was killed by a turtle. The great ancient Greek tragedian met his end in the most absurd way. An eagle dropped a turtle on his head, mistaking his baldness for a rock suitable for breaking the shell. This incident has gone down in history as one of the strangest examples of irony of fate. Aeschylus, who wrote about the greatness of the gods and the destinies of heroes, became a victim of absurd chance himself. One could say that life played a tragicomedy on him, and now his name is associated not only with great plays but also with an extraordinary death. Time on Mercury is arranged in an unusual way. This small world completes an orbit around the Sun in just 88 Earth days, but its own rotation takes twice as long, 176 days. This means that one day on Mercury lasts longer than its year. Imagine, mornings stretch on for months, and sunsets are events celebrated like holidays. For astronomers, this is an intriguing paradox, but for future colonists, it poses a real challenge. Living on a planet where days last half a year means completely restructuring one's rhythm of life. Nature has a way of surprising us by breaking the familiar laws of time. The paradox is that nuclear energy is considered safer than conventional coal and gas. Many people associate nuclear power with accidents and radiation danger, recalling Chernobyl or Fukushima, and that ends the discussion. However, statistics tell a different story. When comparing the number of victims and illnesses caused by various energy sources, coal and gas prove to be far more dangerous. Hundreds of thousands suffer from lung diseases due to emissions from power plants, while the climate takes a severe hit. In contrast, nuclear plants generate energy with almost no carbon emissions, and accidents are extremely rare. Thus, we have a paradox. The frightening word nuclear instills fear, even though in reality it saves lives. In Texas, there's a place that tourists call the Doll Graveyard Town. Once a mining settlement, it is now filled with hundreds of old dolls. They stand on fences, sit in houses, and hang from trees, creating an atmosphere straight out of a mystical film. The locals have turned this into a quirky attraction, offering tours and joking that the dolls rule the town. Of course, it's all in good fun, but it truly looks eerie. Strolling through the streets among the doll residents is not for the faint of heart. Strangely enough, little Albania has turned into a country of bunkers. In the mid-20th century, dictator Enver Hoxha ordered the construction of defensive structures in case of war. The result was around 700,000 concrete bunkers scattered across the country. They were placed on the shores, in the mountains, in backyards, and even near schools. The country resembled a stone anthill. Today, many bunkers are abandoned. Some have been transformed into cafes, museums, and even housing. For tourists, they are a curiosity, while for Albanians, they serve as a reminder of a time when the fear of war was literally embedded in the landscape. In Madagascar, baobabs grow, captivating not only with their appearance but also with their remarkable ability. Their roots can move in search of moisture. Of course, the tree itself doesn't walk, but its root system gradually extends in the necessary direction, creating the illusion that the baobab is shifting across the ground. This adaptation helps it survive in drought conditions. For the locals, the baobab is a sacred tree, a symbol of strength and longevity. Its fruits and leaves are used for food and medicine, while the trunk can serve as a home or a water reservoir. The baobab stands as a guardian of the island, capable of finding a way even where hope seems lost. Once in the Chesapeake Bay, oysters created real, living islands. In the 19th century, there were so many oysters in the Chesapeake Bay that they literally covered the surface of the water. Huge clusters of mollusks even obstructed ships from passing. But as usual, humans intervened. In just 100 years, they nearly wiped out these colossal stocks. By 2011, the oyster population had declined by 99.7%. From a rich natural carpet, only tiny fragments remained. A stark reminder that nature is not infinite. On the island of St. Helena lives a tortoise named Jonathan, who is around 190 years old. He was born in the 19th century and has witnessed changes in eras, wars, and technologies. Imagine, when Jonathan was young, there was no electricity in every home, and now people are launching satellites into space. Yet the tortoise continues to peacefully graze on grass and bask in the sun. His life is like a living chronicle of history. People come from all over the world just to catch a glimpse of this time machine with a shell. Sometimes reality sounds like fantasy. There is a lamp that has been burning for over 100 years. In the fire station of Livermore, California, a light bulb that was lit in 1901 is still shining. It has outlasted generations, wars, and technological changes, yet it continues to glow. Scientists have examined it and confirmed its authenticity. The reason lies in its carbon filament, which operates at a very low power. Interestingly, back then, lamps were made to last for centuries, while today they barely last a couple of years. This little lamp has become a symbol of a time when things were created not for profit, but for durability. The banana plant may seem stationary, but it can actually move. Over its lifetime, it can shift about 40 centimeters. This is due to its root system. New shoots grow slightly away from the old ones, and gradually the entire plant seems to step forward. You can't see this with the naked eye, but if you speed up time, you can observe how the banana family slowly moves toward the sun. This ability helps the plant survive and find better spots for growth. It's amusing to think that even bananas, which we tend to consider simple fruits, actually have their own little secret of travelers. In English, there is a word, strengths, and it is special. It is the longest word with just one vowel. Despite its simplicity, it symbolizes strength, resilience, and endurance. It's amusing that such a word is unique in its structure. It contains 8 consonants in a row, yet it sounds easy and familiar. This little linguistic record shows that even in words, we can find our own championships. Language, like nature, holds its secrets and wonders, and sometimes they are hidden in the most ordinary things, in a word we use almost every day. In Sweden, donors receive a message on their phone when their blood is used to save someone's life. Imagine you donate blood, and a couple of days later you get an SMS saying, "Thank you, today your blood helped a patient." It's not only a nice gesture, but also gives a sense that your action truly matters. People start donating blood more often because they see the results right on their phones. This simple step turns an ordinary procedure into a heartwarming story of human solidarity, and perhaps it's the best "like" in the world. The US Supreme Court may seem like a strict and serious place, but few know that there's a basketball court on its roof. It's called the highest court in the land. Employees and even justices play there to relieve stress after sessions. Imagine this. Just moments ago, someone was making a decision that could change the fate of an entire country. and an hour later, they're shooting hoops. This small detail serves as a reminder that even the most influential people are still human, needing rest and joy. The majestic building with its columns conceals an ordinary game above, a symbol that everyone needs a balance between work and life. There's a myth that a duck's quack doesn't echo. In reality, that's not true. Physics works the same for all sounds. It's just that a duck's quack has a frequency and duration that make the echo seem quiet and unnoticeable. In a quiet place, you can catch it, but under normal conditions, it fades away. So, the myth arises from the peculiarities of our hearing, not from nature itself. It's amusing how often we create legends to explain ordinary things. A duck quacks with an echo. It's just hard to hear. So next time by the pond, try to listen closely. You might catch that hidden stereo. Yes, there are sharks that can walk. These are small epaulet sharks that live on coral reefs. They use their fins like legs, moving them to shuffle along the seafloor. This ability helps them search for food in places where swimming is difficult, like shallow lagoons. It looks unusual, as if a little shark decided to try on a lizard's outfit. Scientists believe this is an example of unique adaptation. Nature has seemingly given this predator new tools for survival. The walking shark is yet another reminder that the ocean holds countless wonders we are not even aware of. In the 1990s, artists Vitaly Komar and Alexander Melamid, along with composer Dave Soldier, set out to create the most terrible song in history. They aimed to produce a piece that would be as unbearable to listen to as possible. They gathered all the musical elements that people found annoying. A children's choir, operatic rap, banjos, synthesizers, and absurd lyrics about hypermarkets and Coca-Cola. The result was a 20-minute track that is truly difficult to listen to all the way through. The experiment proved that art has not only peaks of beauty, but also depths of discord, and there is a certain charm in that as well. Long before the invention of the microscope, an ancient Roman scholar suspected the existence of microbes. Marcus Terentius Varro, in the 1st century BC, wrote that living near swamps is dangerous. There, he claimed, tiny invisible creatures linger that can enter the body through the mouth and nose and cause diseases. No one had microscopes back then, but Varro's keen observation was remarkable. His advice was long regarded as merely the warning of an elder, but centuries later it was confirmed. Malaria-carrying mosquitoes and numerous pathogenic microbes indeed thrived in swamps. Thus, Varro effectively made one of the earliest hypotheses about the existence of bacteria and viruses. Giant whales are not just marine giants, but also true sanitizers of the climate. When a whale dies, its massive body sinks to the ocean floor, taking with it tons of carbon. This is roughly equivalent to the emissions produced by 100 cars over their lifetime. So, whales help clean the atmosphere simply by living their lives. Scientists refer to them as carbon graveyards. But it doesn't sound sad at all. Each whale makes the world a cleaner place. It's amusing that the largest creature on the planet, weighing hundreds of tons, works in harmony with nature to ensure we breathe fresh air. There is a strange yet very real phobia called magirophobia, or the fear of cooking. For those who suffer from it, the kitchen becomes a room of horrors. Pots and pans seem dangerous, and the very act of cooking triggers panic. It's not just a reluctance to stand by the stove, it's a deep-seated fear that can literally paralyze a person. Someone may thrive on ready-made meals, but the thought of preparing something themselves brings on anxiety. This phobia is rare, but it vividly illustrates the diversity of fears. Some people are afraid of spiders, others of heights, while some fear an ordinary pot. Ultimately, it serves as a reminder that everyone has their own vulnerabilities. In 2006, a fisherman from the Philippines accidentally caught a giant pearl weighing a whopping 34 kilograms. He kept it under his bed as a talisman for 10 years, unaware of its value. It later turned out that the find was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Imagine, an ordinary fishing trip turned into a treasure larger than a football. The pearl was named the Pearl of Lao Tzu, and is still regarded as one of nature's most astonishing discoveries. Today, over 4,000 active satellites orbit our planet. They provide us with navigation, communication, weather forecasting, and even climate monitoring. However, as the number of satellites increases each year, scientists are increasingly discussing the problem of space debris. The more technology there is in orbit, the higher the risk of collisions. Imagine a vast network of thousands of lights above us that we can't see, yet they make our lives more convenient every day. Every phone or car contains a small part of their work. Space has long ceased to be empty. It has become a busy highway with continuous traffic. Sound can not only be heard but also seen. This is demonstrated using so-called chladni figures. A metal plate is sprinkled with sand and then vibrated using a bow or speaker. The grains of sand arrange themselves into intricate patterns: stars, circles, lines. Each frequency creates its own drawing. It's as if sound paints a picture right before your eyes. Interestingly, this experiment can even be replicated at home with simple materials. So music is not just something you hear, but also something you can see if you know the clever trick. On the southern coast of Iceland, there is a black beach that is never the same. Every year its contours change. New dunes rise in some areas, while in others, the sand completely disappears. This is all due to winds and powerful underwater currents that move the sand along the shore. Locals and tourists note that today the beach looks one way, but a year later it's different, as if someone has rearranged its parts. It feels like nature itself is painting new scenes right on the shore. This place has become a true mystery for scientists and attracts travelers, as here one can literally witness the changing land and feel the breath of the ocean, capable of reshaping entire landscapes. The starfish eats in a rather unusual way. It turns its stomach inside out and wraps it around its prey, such as a shell. The food is digested externally, and then the stomach is pulled back in. It's like a portable container. Take it out, eat, and put it away. This method allows the starfish to handle prey that is difficult to swallow whole. It's amusing that behind the calm appearance of these sea creatures lies such a trick with their stomachs. They seem to know the secret to an unconventional approach to eating. We often perceive the nose as just an ordinary organ of smell, but in reality it is incredibly complex. It was once believed that humans could distinguish around 10,000 scents. Today, we know that our nose can detect up to 1 trillion different aromas. It's a whole universe of sensations, from the smell of fresh bread to the subtle notes of smoke or gas that can warn us of danger. Think about it. The nose helps you recall childhood memories through the aroma of grandma's pies, or feel the excitement of spring through the scent of damp earth. We tend to consider sight as the primary sense, but the nose is a true superhero, working quietly and unnoticed, saving us from mistakes every day and filling our lives with memories. In 2019, Bulgarian Vasily Ivanov set an unusual record by blowing out 58 candles in one breath. He used a special device that directed the airflow to all the candles at once. Just imagine the strength of the lungs needed to handle that many flames. A regular person struggles to blow out a dozen candles on a cake, and here he managed a whole string of them. This record made it into the Guinness Book and serves as an example of how even a simple action like blow harder can be turned into a world achievement. In Milan, skyscrapers have been built that resemble giant flower beds. Thousands of trees and shrubs have been planted on balconies and facades. This is the Vertical Forest Project. Buildings that not only provide housing but also purify the air, create shade, and reduce noise. In a city filled with cars and concrete, they have become green oases. The residents of these homes literally live among the treetops, not in a country house, but in a high-rise. Beautiful and beneficial at the same time. Architects have demonstrated that nature and the metropolis can be allies, not enemies, if trees are given space even on the 30th floor. Chinese woman Xi Jinping became famous for not cutting her hair for over 40 years. She started growing it at the age of 13 and reached a length of 5.62 meters. That's almost 18 feet. Just imagine how much time it takes to care for such a braid. Brushing alone takes a couple of hours, and washing is a whole ritual. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make it easier to move. Her record is listed in the Guinness Book of Records, and so far, no one has broken it. It's reminiscent of the tale of Rapunzel, but in real life, where determination and patience become a true legend. Glass seems like something familiar to us. Windows, bottles, phone screens. But if you think about it, it's a true marvel of nature and human ingenuity. It all starts with ordinary sand, which is heated to temperatures over 1,400 degrees. It melts and transforms into a transparent material. This process has been known since the time of ancient Egypt, and since then it has hardly changed, only become more precise. Consider how amazing it is. What crunches under our feet on the beach can, after being subjected to fire, become a transparent window through which we view the world. Ordinary sand has the power to reshape civilization. You've probably seen a flamingo or a duck standing on one leg. This isn't acrobatics. It's a way to conserve heat. Birds lose a lot of energy through their legs, and by tucking one leg under their feathers, They reduce heat loss by almost half. It would seem wild for us. Try standing like that for even 10 minutes. But flamingos can even sleep while balancing on one leg, like yogis in nature. Scientists call it unilateral resting, but essentially it's just a comfortable habit. Birds know the secret to comfort better than we do. The very first sound recording appeared in the 18th century, long before Edison's phonograph. The Frenchman Édouard Léon Scott de Martinville used a device called the phonautograph in 1860. It couldn't reproduce sound, it only left traces of sound waves on a glass plate. It wasn't until a century and a half later that scientists were able to decode these lines and heard a voice singing a French song. Thus, the first sounds were preserved as a ghost of the past, which could only come to life thanks to modern technology. Sometimes pirates went to sea not for gold, but for hats. In the 17th century, English pirate Benjamin Hornigold once stopped a merchant ship, but he wasn't interested in gold or spices. He and his crew had overindulged the night before and thrown their hats overboard. So Hornigold demanded only new headgear from the crew. It's a funny situation. Imagine how terrified the merchants were, expecting a raid, only to be told, "We just need hats." Even fearsome pirates found themselves in silly everyday stories. The peregrine falcon is the speed champion among animals. In a hunting dive, it can reach speeds of nearly 400 kilometers per hour. That's faster than a Formula One car. The secret lies in the bird folding its wings, transforming into a living arrow. Imagine watching a pigeon in the sky, and suddenly a peregrine falcon swoops down from above at breakneck speed, catches it, and ascends again. It all happens in seconds, and the prey doesn't even have time to realize what just occurred. This natural predator demonstrates that bird aerodynamics have been perfected. Strangely, female tarantulas live much longer than males, up to 40 years. While males have a short lifespan after reaching maturity, females can survive for several decades. Moreover, they can go without food for up to 2 years if they have access to water. This resilience makes them some of the most unusual spiders. For many, tarantulas symbolize fear, but in reality they are surprisingly patient and enduring creatures. Their lives are slow, almost stretched out in time. And if spiders know how to wait, female tarantulas are true champions of this art. It's hard to believe, but guilt can arise even from happiness. In psychology, this is referred to as survivor's guilt. This state is often experienced by those who have survived a tragedy, or by those who are doing well while their loved ones are suffering. Joy can feel like a betrayal. A person may begin to feel internal discomfort because they have what others lack: health, a job, a family. It's paradoxical, as happiness should bring joy, yet sometimes it becomes a burden. This phenomenon reminds us that emotions do not always adhere to logic. The Leaning Tower of Pisa has been considered leaning for centuries, but thanks to the foundation reinforcement, it still stands today. In the 1990s, engineers carried out complex work. They excavated soil from one side and added supports to prevent the tilt from increasing. As a result, the tower was stabilized, and it has even straightened a bit. Imagine, a symbol of Italy could have collapsed, but the efforts of scientists turned it into a stable monument. Tourists still take pictures supporting it with their hands, but now we can be sure it will stand for at least another 200 years. In Antarctica, amidst icy landscapes, there is a place where a stream of crimson water flows from beneath a glacier. It has been dubbed the Blood Falls. In reality, the water is colored due to a high iron content. It oxidizes and gives off that hue. However, it looks truly eerie. The pristine white ice and the red river resemble a scene from a horror movie. Scientists believe that beneath the ice lies an ancient lake with microorganisms that thrive in conditions with almost no oxygen. Thus, the blood falls are not only a spectacle but also a clue about life in extreme conditions. You've probably noticed that sometimes chocolate develops a white coating. Many people think it's spoiled, but no, it's just fat bloom. When cocoa butter rises to the surface due to temperature changes, the taste remains almost unchanged, and this chocolate is safe to eat. It's as if the bar has grayed from stress, looking odd on the outside but still sweet on the inside. Interestingly, manufacturers sometimes explain this on the packaging so that people don't get scared. So if you see that white coating, don't throw it away, just give it a second chance. Octopuses are remarkable creatures not only for their tentacles and intelligence, but also for how they care for their offspring. The female lays thousands of tiny eggs and then guards them for weeks, refusing to eat. All her energy goes into ensuring the hatchlings emerge safely. When this happens, the mother often dies from exhaustion. Such self-sacrifice is astonishing. She literally gives her life for the future generation. In the animal kingdom, such devotion is rare. So, when observing an octopus, it's worth remembering that behind its cold exterior lies one of the most touching displays of maternal instinct. Interestingly, even the mightiest trees have a limit to their growth. It turns out that no tree on the planet can exceed a height of about 130 meters. The reason lies in physics. Water cannot rise up the trunk beyond a certain level. It's like trying to drink through a straw the length of a skyscraper. At some point, the liquid simply stops. This is why even the majestic sequoias, the tallest trees in the world, reach this invisible threshold. We look up at them in awe of their grandeur, but they too are subject to the strict laws of nature that impose a limit where it seems there could be infinity. It may seem that sports should unite people, but one day a football field became the spark for war. It sounds absurd, but in 1969, football matches were the last straw in the conflict between Honduras and El Salvador. The teams faced off on the field, but underlying their game were much sharper issues: overpopulation, land disputes, and social tension. The matches added fuel to the fire, leading to a war that would later be called the Football War. It lasted only a few days but claimed thousands of lives. The irony is that a sport meant for unity and joy unexpectedly became the trigger for a real tragedy. Some bridges are capable of producing sounds when people walk on them. For example, in London there is the Millennium Bridge, which features special plates that create a voice effect. The sounds resemble whispers or soft footsteps, and at night the bridge transforms into an almost mystical place. Tourists love this effect. As they stroll, they become part of a unique concert. There's a feeling that the city itself has a voice, which it reveals only to attentive listeners. These bridges are an example of how architecture can be not only functional, but also emotional, turning an ordinary crossing over a river into a memorable experience. It may seem like ordinary things, but if you take a closer look, they hold the most unexpected stories. If you enjoyed this journey through the world of curiosities, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's even more to come that textbooks have kept silent about.